In the sport of softball, the Gillies Shield is the highlight of the national calendar, where Australia's best female softballers represent their state or territory. It is the pinnacle of competition in the women's game. Today, you've got the best seat in the house as New South Wales and Queensland do battle for the sport's biggest prize at the Blacktown International Sports Park. Our coverage proudly presented by Softball Australia, the Australian Sports Commission and Softball Batter Up. Step up to the plate, go to softballbatterup.com.au.
Tremendous to have your company on Fox Sports right around Australia this afternoon on a glorious day in Sydney's west, not a cloud in the sky here at Blacktown International Sports Park. My name's Drew Forbes and welcome to the Australian Open's Women's Softball Championship. Also an historic occasion today too, as it marks the first time in over a decade that domestic Australian softball has been broadcast nationally. And we're joined now by lead commentator who's going to bring you all the action this afternoon, Justin Nelson. Justin, let me ask you, how excited are you to be here today, particularly for a tournament that goes all the way back to 1947?
Yeah, Drew, absolutely, and you touched on it in the opener. Fantastic weather, well done to Sydney, turned it on. It's been a great week, huge competition, and the best two teams have made it through, and that's the most important thing. We're going to see the New South Wales FIRESTARS, the Queensland Heat in action, and the Gillies Shield. They've won 17 each, so whoever wins today goes up one notch.
Absolutely, bragging rights on the line. You mentioned the Gillies Shield, of course, named after the great Mac Gilly. Also hugely important today, being a selection trial for the upcoming World Championships.
Yeah, it is. It's the last event that the national selectors get the chance to have a look at these players. Of course, the World Championships coming up in August in the Netherlands, and cream of the crop in this game. We've got some absolute beauties in action today, and I think the national selectors, they've got the job ahead of them.
They certainly do. There'll be plenty of talent on display this afternoon. Speaking of talent, earlier today the under-17s were in action in their final, and once again, Justin, a dominant display by New South Wales.
They were great, the under-17s. They went through the whole competition unbeaten, got through to the final, won 4-0 over Victoria. Well done to Victoria on getting there. They got through in a tiebreaker innings to come up against New South Wales, but again, the best team got through, won the title. Well done.
Well, we turn our attention now to the main event as we edge closer and closer to finding out who'll be crowned champions of the Australian Open's Women's Softball Championship. And there's certainly none better to ask than Olympian and former player herself, Fiona Crawford. Fiona, thank you so much for joining us. Describe the magnitude, the importance of this event here today and what it would mean to the players to take home the Gillies Shield.
Well, the Gillies Shield is really the pinnacle of our sport in this country. I think it stems back from the history, as you said earlier, stems all the way back to 1947, and these two teams that have made the final, New South Wales and Queensland, have got a fabulous rivalry which dates back way into the 60s. So they're certainly mates off the field, but they'll all be going for bragging rights for this one.
There's certainly a lot of pressure on the players who are about to take their places as we count down to the first pitch. What do you think the captains would be saying to their players before the first pitch, and what would the players be feeling?
Certainly there'll be some butterflies, that's absolutely the case. I think the captains would really be geeing these girls up, but they really wouldn't need all that much. I mean, this is the game that they all play for. It's the final of the Gillies Shield. They've trained long and hard for this, so softball's really the heptathlon of team sports. So they train to be agile, they train to be powerful, they train to be fast, they train to be strong, and they also have to perform under pressure both offensively and defensively. It all comes down to the final though.
Which players from each team should we particularly pay close attention to this afternoon?
They're all tremendous athletes. I think certainly for the Heat, though, I'd be looking at their catcher, Jodie Bowering, ex-Olympian. She's a really consistent and solid performer, so certainly look out for Jodie behind the plate. They've got a fabulous pitching combination in Sandra Holden and Joss McCallum, so they offer a really good match-up there. For the New South Wales FIRESTARS, they've got some really great upcoming players coming through. Rachel Lack and TSITSIKRONIS in particular have had tremendous tournaments so far. I certainly don't think you can go past their captain, though, in Stacey Porter. She is an outstanding athlete, and she is regarded as one of the best players to have ever played this game. She is a game changer.
Yes, certainly. There's sure to be plenty of game changers out there today. If we have a look at the two lineups, we'll start with the New South Wales FIRESTARS. And in the battery, it's Parnaby throwing to TSITSIKRONIS, Miller, McManus and Lack at the bases. Stacey Porter is the captain. She'll be at shortstop. Brooker, Poole and Pobji in the outfield. The designated player is Ellen Roberts and they're coached by Kerry Porter. Earlier, I caught up with Stacey Porter and here are her thoughts leading into the match.
It's good to have the morning off and have a bit of a sleep in. It was an early get up for those Queenslanders this morning and take our time and relax a little bit today. But it's also nice to get a feel for the game, and I'm sure they would have had a tough outing against WA this morning. They come from behind. They had some good performances by a few of their players, so it's nice to get on a bit of a roll, but I'm hoping the advantage today is the sleep in.
Let's have a look at the Queensland Heat lineup now. And we've got Holden as the pitcher, although we do expect to see McCallum a little later on perhaps. Bowering is the captain, she'll play catcher. Weber, Weaver and Sorensen in the bases. Speakman, Blackman, Wall, Thrass, Stearns. Their coach is Fabian Barlow. And earlier we caught up with Jody Bowering.
Look, we've been working really hard. It's a long season. It's 6 months of training, and this is what we're here for right now today. And we really want to bring the Gilly Shield home. We just missed out last year, and we do not want to repeat. So we're here to grab the shield today.
Well, we're not too far away now. Let's get down to business, and we'll start with the former Olympian. Fiona, what do you see as the key contributing factors to determining who wins this afternoon?
It's really whoever comes out of the gates the fastest and gets the runs on the board.
Justin, who's going to win and why?
Very hard to go past New South Wales. The FIRESTARS have been fantastic. I think 6-2.
Fiona?
New South Wales have just got too much form. I'm going for 4-zip.
All right, well, thank you to both of you, Fiona and Justin. And as they both make their way up to the commentary box, let's now take a look at the history of softball in Australia and this feature interview with Chet Gray.
The first official interstate softball carnival was held in 1947 and was organised by the president of Softball Queensland, Mac Gilly. And as a result, the competition now bears his name. Following the Atlanta Olympics in 1996, where Australia won a bronze medal, experts believed if Australia was to win a gold medal, a higher level of competition was needed and subsequently created. The first season of the Women's National League, otherwise known as the Gilly Shield and Australian Open Women's Championship, took place in 2007. This competition providing elite players from their respective state or territory with an opportunity to replicate the intense nature and demanding playing schedule of the World Championships. In recent seasons, Western Australia, the defending champion, has been dominant, winning 3 of the last 4 titles. It is Victoria, however, that has been the most successful at interstate competitions, winning 22 tournaments, followed by New South Wales and Queensland, equal with 17 championships. Softball participation is very much on the increase in Australia, and current Softball Australia's CEO, Chet Gray, also the former national coaching director, is a former baseball and softball player who grew up in California.
Well, I grew up like any normal USA kid out of California, wanting to play Little League Baseball in Williamsport in the grand final. Didn't quite make that one. However, I went on to play college at Cal Poly Pomona. Great coach there and a great program, which then gave me the opportunity to play a couple years in the minor leagues. I played for the Montreal Expos organization in the minor leagues, got as far as single A ball. Enjoyed the experience and then went in to coaching. So I had the opportunity to go back to my old college, and the coach actually invited me out to be one of the assistant coaches. So I did kind of my apprenticeship through the college system and then went on out on my own.
Chet Gray is a student of the game, and his passion is boundless in an effort to spread the gospel about softball. He says the uninitiated may be surprised with Australia's world standing in the game.
You know, that's a great story and probably one of the most unknown stories. Over the last 10 years, we've been ranked #1 in the world as a team sport, both our men and our women. Currently, all 4 of our national teams are ranked in the top 3. So Japan and the United States, with the population base and the softball that they play over there, can't even compare to that. With our population base, which is probably 1/8 of the rest of the world, we actually succeed very well. It's this thing about the Australian determination. It's in softball. It's in sports in general. But we've won a silver medal at the 2004 Athens Olympic game with our women. And in recent times, our men went from about 10th in the world, moved up the rankings over about a 10-year period, and they finished with a world championship in 2009. Our under-19 boys won 3 consecutive gold medals over the last 16 years. And our under-19 women have just finished with a bronze medal at the last world championship. Pretty successful. I think we're probably one of the most successful team sports in this country, but people don't know about it.
And it's certainly a sport, softball, which does encourage kids to get involved.
Yes, one of our primary focuses right now is, getting back to the kids, getting them involved. We have a national recruitment program called Softball Batter Up that we've had out there for the last couple of years. That's our what I call our showpiece right now. We want to get it back to every kid. We just believe the game is such a fun and exciting, but it also builds self-esteem in individuals, especially the young kids.
It's a different sport, softball. It's probably one of those sports where not a lot of people have played it, but what do you find people's reactions are when they do play softball for the first time?
I was thinking about this a while back and what makes it all happen. I think with softball, we can play it anywhere, anytime, any place, in any ability. So I can take someone in a wheelchair, I can do indoor, I can do on the beach. Softball is such the modified situation. We can modify the game to suit any area, any place, any time, and any ability. On top of it, the game itself is unique because I think people get a kick out of striking the bat and the ball. That's the unique aspect of it. The first time a young kid hits the ball, they're so excited. The self-esteem, their confidence just builds. And I think that's the kicker. It's just put a bat on the ball.
One of softball's greatest strengths in the present era is the fact that the game is being played in many schools across Australia. And the game's chief executive is confident the code is making progress.
Yes, one of the things we've had a proud history of is softball's been in the school system, strong and successful in the school system for the past 50 years. But recently, like all sports in this country, there's been a decline in the participation of sports. And it's not just softball, and we felt it as well. I mean, all sports have been feeling it. But what we're trying to do now is reinventing ourselves, and we're driving membership, and we're starting to grow. We've got, as I say, our ducks all lined up, and we're now ready to move forward and actually take this sport to the next level. And to see more and more of it on the television, as well as seeing more and more people playing it over the next decade.
31 glorious degrees here this afternoon in Sydney at the Blacktown International Sports Park. Hello and welcome as we present the highlights of the Gillies Shield Grand Final, and we're straight into it with Stacey Porter getting set to lead the way for New South Wales. Good afternoon too to dual Olympian FIONA CRAWFORD.
Good afternoon, Justin.
And what a player to have first up at bat, Stacey Porter.
She's, as I said at the outset, an outstanding athlete and a tough batter to pitch to for Sandra Holden.
There's the first strike of the game. Michael Palmer also joining us in the commentary box today. No stranger to softball, of course. He's been around for years and years. Hello, Michael.
Yeah, Justin and Fiona, hello. Great day for it, and a lovely piece out into left field.
Well, that's Stacey Porter's game all over. She is a cracking batter. Has a batting average of .564 in this event so far, and on-base average of .671, and that's what we've come to expect from her.
Interesting to see here whether coach Kerry Porter will put the bunt on Stacey McManus to move Stacey to second base.
McManus, good call. Straight away shaping up with the bunt. She scored 28 runs so far in this competition, McManus. Sandra Holden on the pitcher's mound, plenty of experience. Just inside with the ball.
And Fiona, as you were talking in the opener, obviously getting off to a good start is incredibly important. So New South Wales with a base runner on, potentially looking to bunt, get them into scoring position and get on the board.
Yep, absolutely critical that they move Stacey into a scoring position at second base.
Holden to McManus, and McManus bat on ball, and she's made first. There's an error there. I think Porter will be out though at second, and McManus continues to run in. Safe. Great work, Stacey McManus.
I think you might find there, Justin, that the catcher Jodie Bowring was caught possibly doing a bit of play watching there. Should have been backing up that throw at first base, which has allowed Stacey McManus to advance to second base. And whilst it may not seem much, extra bases are critical in preventing teams from scoring in a final at the Gillies Shield.
There's the dive, and there's the call. So McManus safe at second. Rachel Lack steps to the plate.
And effectively New South Wales got the result they wanted. They had a runner on first trying to get it to second. It turned out it was the batter at second base, so the error was pretty costly, and New South Wales are still in the position they want to be, a runner at second and one out.
Fiona, tell us a little bit about Rachel Lack. She'll go very close to picking up the Rookie of the Year award, I think.
I think she'll go very close, Justin. She's a fantastic athlete, making her debut, as you said, in the Gillies Shield this year. And it's a quantum leap, to be honest, moving from the 19s programs to the senior competition, and she has done a sterling job in doing so.
And has a habit of getting on base. Her on-base average is 600, second only to Stacey Porter. There's a fly ball out to centre field, and stepping underneath and taking the catch. Very, very well done out there. And McManus still on second. Jade Wall out at centre field, taking the catch. Another young gun for New South Wales, TAYLAH TSITSIKRONIS. Looks to have a very promising future.
Absolutely, Justin.
Holden picks it up, easy out at first. Webber takes it, and that is it. New South Wales without a score in the first, and now we get the first chance to have a look at Queensland batting.